He knows, not the tentative, this might be something, let me keep watching version of knowing that belongs to someone who is still in the early stages of assessing what they have encountered. The specific, settled, arrived at through direct experience, no longer revisable version of knowing that belongs to someone who has been shown something undeniable by their own interior and who cannot, regardless of what they might return to the state of not knowing it. He knows you are the one, and that knowledge is scaring the hell out of him. I want to sit with both of those things together because I think they are equally important, and I think the relationship between them is the heart of this entire reading. The knowing is real. The fear is also real. And the fear is not evidence against the knowing. It is not the sign that what he feels is uncertain or provisional or likely to dissolve under the pressure of its own intensity. It is the specific, involuntary, cannot be produced on purpose response of someone who has encountered something so significant that their entire internal system is registering the magnitude of it through the specific alarm of fear. You do not fear losing something you are not sure you want. You do not fear the magnitude of something that is not actually that large. The fear is proportionate to the knowing, and the knowing is very clear. Let me walk you through what the cards confirmed. Let me describe what I felt the moment this energy opened, because the impressions were layered in a specific way that tells the full picture of what is happening in this man. I felt the very specific quality of someone in the grip of something that exceeds their capacity to manage comfortably, not in the crisis sense, not in the I am falling apart sense, in the specific, alive, slightly overwhelming quality of someone whose interior has been enlarged by what they feel and who has not yet found a way to inhabit that enlarged interior with the same ease they inhabited the smaller, more contained version of themselves that existed before encountering you. I also felt something underneath that quality that I want to name carefully because I think it is important for how you hold this situation. I felt genuine, undefended, completely real love, not infatuation, which has a different texture, lighter and more volatile. Love, the specific, settled, has been building through actual experience of who you actually are kind of love. That does not require idealization to sustain itself because it is built on the actual rather than the projected. The love is clear. It is the clarity of it that is producing the fear. The first card in this reading arrived in the position representing the nature and quality of what he feels for you. And I want to describe it carefully because I think you deserve to understand the full picture of what is actually present in this man before we talk about what the fear is doing with it. This card shows a figure at the pinnacle of the water element, the King of Cups at his fullest expression, the most complete version of what genuine emotional depth and genuine mature love look like when they have arrived at their fullest development. This is not the figure of someone in the early stages of feeling something. This is the court figure that represents feeling that has been developed, tested, refined, and arrived at a quality of genuine and established maturity. The King of Cups is not impulsive. He is not reactive. He has the specific quality of someone who understands what he feels and who is in the position of having to contend with the full weight of it rather than being carried along by it without awareness. What I am reading in this card about what he feels is something I want to name directly. The feeling is real and it is mature and it is the fully developed version rather than an early stage. This is not a passing intensity or a temporary elevation of attraction. It is the specific adult, fully formed version of what it means to love someone in the settled, grounded, has survived the test of actual time and actual knowing way that the King of Cups embodies. I also want to speak to what this card tells me about how he experiences the feeling. The King of Cups does not run from what he feels. He is not someone who habitually suppresses or avoids his interior life. He is genuinely in relationship with what he carries, which means the full weight of what he carries about you is available to him in a way it might not be to someone who maintains more distance from their own interior. He knows exactly what he feels, which means he knows exactly what he stands to lose. The second card arrived in the position representing the specific nature of the fear, what it is specifically that is scaring him. And I want to name this with precision because I think the precision matters for how you understand what is happening. This card shows a figure perched at a great height between towers with the quality of someone who is suspended in a crossing between what was and what comes next in the specific, slightly vertiginous quality of being between things. This card belongs to a specific moment in the journey, the place between the safety of the familiar and the unknown of what is next, where both the direction forward and the path back are equally present as options, and where neither has yet been fully committed to. What I am reading in this card about the nature of the fear is something I want to name honestly. He is afraid of the crossing, not of you specifically, not of what he feels, the crossing itself, the specific, irreversible quality of moving from the life he has been living, the contained, familiar, I know, the parameters of this version of his life, into the life that would be possible if he fully committed to what he knows. The life that includes you in the permanent, I have chosen this, there is no taking it back way that the knowing has revealed, is the only version of having you that would be real. He is afraid of how much this matters, of how much the commitment would mean, and therefore how much its failure would cost, of the specific, irreversible quality of making the choice clearly and completely, and then having to live inside whatever that choice produces. I want to speak to something about the specific quality of this kind of fear, because I think naming it precisely changes how it is received. This is not the fear of someone who is uncertain about what they want. Uncertainty produces a different kind of fear, a lighter, more diffuse kind that is primarily about the question of whether the feeling is real. What he is experiencing is not that kind. The feeling is not in question. What is in question in his own interior is his own capacity to be adequate to what he feels, his own capacity to be the version of himself that a love this significant deserves. The fear is not, I do not know if I want this. It is, I am not sure I am enough for this. That distinction matters enormously because it tells you something about where the hesitation is located. It is not in the feeling for you. It is in his relationship to his own sense of deserving and adequacy. And that is a kind of fear that belongs to someone who is genuinely moved rather than someone who is genuinely uncertain. But I also want to speak to what this card reveals about his direction. The figure in this card is moving forward slowly in the quality of someone who is not yet at the other side but who has not turned back. The fear has not produced paralysis. It has produced something more like the specific, slightly cautious, but continuously moving quality of someone who is making their way across even though the height is significant. Does this feel like it is landing on something specific, Virgo? The particular quality of a man whose feeling for you is clear and genuine, and who is simultaneously in the grip of a fear that is proportionate to the magnitude of what he feels. Let me know in the comments. The third card arrived in the position representing what specifically is happening in him right now, in the immediate present. And I want to describe this carefully because I think it names something that is useful for understanding what is coming next. This card shows a figure who has turned from a scene of cups to look at 3 cups that are still standing, the quality of someone whose attention has moved from loss to what remains, from what has been complicated to what is still possible, with the quality of someone who is engaged in the specific interior work of counting what matters rather than cataloging what is difficult. This is a card of reorientation, of someone whose perspective is in the process of shifting from one angle to a different one. What I am reading in this card about what is happening in him right now is something I want to name specifically. He is in the process of arriving at a decision, not yet there, in the process, actively, intentionally, with the full quality of his attention turned toward the question of what he actually wants and what he is actually willing to do about it. The fear has not won. It has not produced the specific closed down quality of someone who has decided to let what they feel remain unexpressed indefinitely. It is being engaged with rather than surrendered to. I also want to speak to the cups that are standing in this card because they carry something important. They represent what is still available, what the fear has not taken from the picture. And in the context of this reading, what is still available is you, the possibility of moving toward what he knows. The cups that are standing are the cups that are his if he is willing to cross the distance that the fear has been making feel larger than it actually is. Inhale with me, Virgo. Because the 4th card is the one that describes what is building in him toward the point of action, and I want you to receive it fully. This card shows a figure in the specific quality of someone who has made a decision and who is in the early, slightly exhilarating, nothing holding it back quality of acting on it. The fire element speaks to initiative and to courage and to the specific quality of forward motion that does not wait for all conditions to be perfect before it begins. And what I am sensing in the energy of this card is that the decision has been made in his interior, even if it has not yet produced visible external movement. The decision that has been made is toward you. I want to be specific about what I mean by that. The decision I am describing is not a fully articulated, everything planned out, all details resolved kind of decision. It is the simpler, more foundational kind, the kind where someone has answered the basic question of what they want and what direction they are going to go in. The more complicated questions, the timing and the form and the specific words and the how are still in the process of being worked out. But the foundational question, which was the source of the fear, has been answered. He wants you, and he is going to do something about it. I want to address something specific about the lock you up and throw away the key energy in the title of this reading, because I think it deserves honest engagement rather than simply being absorbed as a dramatic metaphor. What that phrase is pointing toward is the specific quality of someone who does not want you to leave, not in the controlling, possessive, unhealthy sense of that desire, in the specific, genuine, this is so right I do not want it to be lost sense of someone who has found something that they experience as genuinely irreplaceable and who is aware, perhaps painfully aware, that what is irreplaceable can be lost. The wanting to keep you is not about control. It is about the specific, genuine quality of having understood what he has found. Of knowing in the clear and unambiguous way, the King of Cups knows things, that what exists between you is of a quality that does not simply replicate itself, that you are not replaceable, that this specific, particular, irreducibly you quality of what you bring is something that exists in the world exactly once, and that he has been fortunate enough to have access to. The fear of losing that is the fear behind the lock you up energy, not possession, genuine understanding of genuine value. The specific awareness of someone who knows what rarity looks like and who is aware that they are in its presence and who is terrified of being the reason it becomes inaccessible to them. The fifth card arrived in the position of what is coming, where all of this knowing and fearing and deciding and beginning to move is heading in terms of actual events in your actual life. And I want to describe it with the full attention it deserves. This card shows two figures in the genuine, mutual, fully inhabited quality of two people who are truly in the experience of something real, between them being fully acknowledged and fully received, both fully present, both fully facing each other. The specific quality of nothing being managed or held back or kept at a safe distance, the quality of genuine meeting in the fullest, most complete sense of that word. What I am sensing in this card about what is coming is something I want to name directly. The conversation that has been waiting to happen between you and this man is approaching, the one where the knowing gets said in plain language, where the fear gets acknowledged rather than hidden, where the feeling, which has been carried privately by both of you in whatever proportion and in whatever form it exists on your side of this dynamic, finally arrives in the shared space between you in a form that is undeniable and requires genuine response rather than the managed, carefully maintained quality of something that has not yet been brought fully into the light. I also want to speak to the mutual quality of this card in the context of this particular reading, because I think it carries something specific. The fear in him has been partly about whether what he feels exists in both directions, whether the magnitude of what is present for him is matched by something genuinely present on your side. The card in this position is showing me that the meeting that is coming has a quality of mutuality to it. Both cups extended, both figures present. Whatever the specific nature of what you carry and however you have been holding it, what is approaching is a moment where the mutual quality of what is between you has the opportunity to become fully visible and fully acknowledged by both people simultaneously. That is a genuinely rare and genuinely significant thing. I want to speak to something about how this particular meeting tends to feel when it actually happens, because I think naming it helps you be present for it rather than slightly ahead of it in your own processing. The meeting that is depicted in this card has a specific quality of both people arriving in the same moment, not one person presenting something to a recipient, not one person further along than the other, both arriving together at the same realization in the same moment, in the specific, slightly breathless quality of two people who have been carrying something toward each other and who have finally closed the distance between them enough for both of what they carry to be in the same space simultaneously. That quality of simultaneous arrival is what the card is pointing toward. And it is the specific thing that makes what is coming different from anything that has come before in this dynamic. Before I close, I want to say something about the fear and what it actually means in the context of this specific man and this specific situation, because I think it is the most important reframe this reading can offer. Fear of losing something is not compatible with not genuinely wanting it. The specific scaring the hell out of him quality of what he is experiencing is not evidence of doubt about whether you are the one. It is evidence of the opposite. It is the specific, visceral, fully felt response of someone who knows exactly what he has and exactly what losing it would cost, and who is therefore in the specific, heightened state of awareness that belongs to someone who is in the presence of something precious and who understands that precious things require something of us. He is scared because he knows, not scared in spite of knowing, because of it. The knowing is what produces the stakes. The stakes are what produce the fear. The fear is the full measure of how much this means. And what it means is you, completely, genuinely, without reservation. The lock and the thrown away key are his interior's way of expressing something he does not yet have the external language for. But the language is coming, and so is he. I want to say one final thing about what this reading is ultimately confirming, because I think you deserve to receive it as plainly as I can say it. The specific quality of someone being scared by how much they want you, by the magnitude and the clarity of their own knowing, is one of the most reliable indicators available of the genuine article. The performances of love and attraction do not produce this kind of fear. Only the real version does. Only the version that has arrived through genuine encounter with genuine depth, that has established itself at the foundational level rather than at the surface, that knows what it is and what it requires and what it costs if it is not honored, produces the specific, visceral, scaring the hell out of someone quality of what this man is caring about you. You did not manufacture this. You simply were who you are in the full quality of your genuine presence. And his interior did what genuine interiors do when they encounter something genuinely rare. They recognized it, and they have been terrified ever since of what losing it would mean. If this reading named something you have been sensing in a specific man's energy toward you, the specific quality of someone who is clearly feeling something large and who is simultaneously in the grip of a fear that is proportionate to its size, please share it with a Virgo who might be navigating the same dynamic and who needs to hear that the fear is not doubt. And leave a comment. I want to hear who this is bringing up for you and what the specific quality of his presence and his hesitation has been telling you. I read every single comment, and I hold what is shared in this space with genuine care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo. He knows the knowing is scaring him. The fear is the full measure of what you mean to him. And he is making his way across. He is coming. And when he arrives, what he is going to say is the thing that the fear has been keeping him from saying all along. That you are the one, and that he knows it,